You are ready to rock.
Greg, you're going to sit here.
Oh, yeah. You want to sit right there?
I wasn't going to talk. Y'all
you sure?
I'm just watching, bro.
Well,
I'm serious.
Okay, all right, okay.
Cinco de Mayo. Yeah. My shorty bad like Shakira. Ooh. I told her look in the mirror. Yeah. Don't need a license to carry. I do not let them sit near. She got a heart that's so pure. Better hope nothing occur. Better hope nothing occur.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is. Welcome back to another episode of NFL Flag Talk, where we talk about all of the things related to NFL flag. I am Eric Cooper.
I'm Rashad Colvin.
And today we're excited to have with us Ms. Jameson Olsen, one of the pioneers and visionaries when it comes to flag football tournaments, and she does hard count athletics. Join us as we uncover her drive, her impact, and the future of flag football through her eyes. Jameson, so glad to have you here with us. Great. So tell us, how did it start, the vision behind hard count athletics, things of that nature?
Yeah, so Gregory Williams, my business partner, started Hard Count Athletics in 2015.
Nice.
He owned a mega league out in San Diego for NFL flag, and he really wanted to give them something more to do than just the league games. And so he started tournaments within the league, and they just grew to, doing them outside of the league, having people from different states come, and that's where it started. So Nice. He really wanted to just give more to the kids of NFL Flag San Diego.
Gotcha. We love that. So how did your experience with flag football, I guess, shape what you do with hard count athletics?
So I grew up around football. My dad just got inducted to the University of Pitt Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame.
Nice.
So I grew up around football. So I came onto the scene with hard count in 2017 when I met Greg, and when he told me what his vision was, it was something that I really wanted to be involved in. Mm-hmm. So me being around football and being a female,
for sure.
And really, that was really when the next year was when Females in Flag started to come to light. So I just wanted to give girls like me, when I was younger, it was called powder puff. There really wasn't that competitive edge. There was no future for them like there is now. So when it came to that, I really wanted to bring that side of it to hard count and help it grow on the West Coast.
I love that. Now, Coop, right before, I know you was about to ask a question, but just piggybacking on what you're saying, being a woman in like a male-dominated space, like how do you feel? Like how do you feel like representing the women? Like how do you feel as a woman like in this space where it's a lot of males that run like NFL flag?
I really feel like the men in this space have a lot of respect for the women in this space.
Nice.
Okay.
The men that are in charge, right? The men that are running the leagues, the other tournament directors. Sometimes the coaches are the ones that lack the respect. But I really do feel like the men have, when you come to the table, they start out with a lot of respect for you versus a lot of industries where it's the other way around, where you have to prove yourself. I feel like they know that if you're there and you have a seat at the table, you earned it.
I love that.
Yes. So tell us, what does hard count athletics have to offer?
Besides being the best tournament circuit in the nation?
You know it.
Hard count really, Greg always says that it's really a production company. We want to give them, when they're there, we really want the atmosphere to be like none other. The swag that you're going to feel when you just walk in through the gates. For example, our national championship, we really take pride in having our 30-foot, LED screen with highlights running on it, having our stage up there for the kids to dance on. One of the coaches, I think, compared it to, he's like, man, I feel like I'm a wrestler on WWE when the foggers and the fireworks went off when we got our rings, right? So the atmosphere is like none other when you step onto a hard count field.
I love that. All right, so tell us, why should people want to go to like a hard count event? I understand like everything you're saying, but why should, like if someone have never heard of it, why should they want to come to a hard count athletics event?
We do it right. We do it right. The competition is like none other. I know there's a lot of East Coast teams that talk. There's a lot of West Coast teams that talk. But if you really want to get the best competition, you're going to find it at a hard count tournament.
Sure.
We really try and do it right, and we do it right. I take pride on always trying to have 3 refs on a field. It's just a better experience for them.
sure.
Sometimes everyone has that where a ref or two doesn't show up, but we start out our tournaments with having them on the field.
Gotcha.
We make sure that our coaches know the rules. We make sure that we give teams and team moms every opportunity to ask questions prior to the tournament.
Nice.
So they come in knowing everything and knowing that the competition they get is going to be like none other.
Love it.
Now, here, flag football is all about community. And so, what does hard count athletics do community-wise?
We're always, in the community that we serve. We've done toy drives with our different leagues we partner with. We do youth football camps for around the nation, right? So California, Texas, Colorado, Florida, Pennsylvania, you name it, we've been there. So we really want everyone to know that it's just not a sport just for high school. Being able to be on the field and knowing there's a place for everyone on the field. And that's what we really drive home when we do our youth football camps. Kids as young as that first grade level coming and just having a great time, especially with the NFL players. When we partner with NFL players, we ask them to be just a big kid for 4 hours.
Love it.
Right? And that's why we do the VIP experience for a certain amount of kids prior to. We allow the kids to ask any question that they want to the football players.
Wow.
And some of them have asked some pretty jaw-dropping questions for sure, but that's the opportunity for the player to relate to the kids, to have that special touch with the kids and tell them what it's just not about football. It's about learning skills that you can take on and off the field.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm going to follow up because you did mention all the NFL players that you work with. When it comes to camps, are there NFL players you're working with this upcoming year?
Oh, absolutely. We just did a camp with Austin Eckler. Last weekend, we finished up a camp with Jamar Chase. We have a camp with Jamar Chase coming up in Cincinnati. I've worked with Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. We have a camp coming up with Jalen Warren in April. I know, super excited for that, being a Pittsburgh native myself.
Sure.
So we have a lot of them coming up in the works.
Love that.
We usually do anywhere from 10 to 15 camps a year.
Really?
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We love that. Now, talking about the camps, what is it like working with like some of these NFL players, and what's like maybe one of your most memorable experiences from doing these camps?
Gosh, there's been so many. Obviously there's you're going to have your ups and your downs.
For sure.
Right? You're going to have players that just tug at your heartstrings and want to make sure that every kid there he has touched in some way, shape, or form. And then you have the ones that are when it's pulling teeth to get them there, and then when they're there, they're having like an aha moment, right? So I think one of my biggest memories or things that have touched me the most during these camps is that when we do the paid camps and the free camps where the athlete takes us back to the community that they grew up in and are free to the community. I know that when we've done that before with Josh Jacobs, he wants to make sure that the kids in his community eat.
I love that.
So he brings that. He pays for all the food trucks to come out. He pays for different things to come out for the parents, different resources for them. And I remember him on the mic being like, I just want everyone here to make sure that they take to-go boxes home so everyone can eat tonight.
Look at that.
Yeah. So Josh Jacobs, like when he brings us back to his hometown of Tulsa, it's a special for us too.
Love that. I didn't know he was from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I didn't know that. Okay. Nice.
Now, let's get back to the events.
Okay.
And trust me, because we've run several events, especially tournaments. We're about to run our 7th annual tournament coming up. So tell us a challenge that you've had doing some of your tournaments, and more importantly, how did you overcome that challenge?
A challenge leading up to the tournaments, challenges during the tournaments.
Heck, all the above.
All the above.
Yeah.
logistically leading up to a tournament, making sure, and we're nationwide, right? So it's not all of our tournaments are within driving distance from home base, right? So it's really making sure we have a really great core group of staff that lead hard count. And I think that is the backbone of hard count. Greg and I do a phenomenal job and are phenomenal partners at the actual events and creating them, but our backbone is our staff. And I include our refs in that too. We travel our refs as well. But leading up to the tournament, I think some of the biggest challenges is making sure everyone makes their flights. Just all the coordination of everything going into that. And on site, I think day of the tournament, it could vary. A smooth tournament is there's no such thing as a smooth tournament.
For sure.
Behind the scenes, right? Sure. As long as everyone in front of the scenes sees it as a smooth tournament, we're okay with that. But we're always going to have our challenges with refs or making sure that I always preach to our refs, run your fields. But if a coach has a question, don't ignore that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Not.
So making sure there's the bridge the gap between the refs and the
Absolutely.
coaches. And sometimes coaches just want to be heard, not necessarily told that they're right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Greg says that all the time. They just want to be heard.
For sure.
Right? So making sure I like to bridge that gap between the refs and the coaches. Because that just makes a smoother tournament for everybody.
I agree. I think the refs do make the tournament.
Yes,
to be honest with you.
100%.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Now, you kind of gave me another question to ask. Being that I guess you guys started in San Diego, what made you say like, hey, let's do this on a bigger national scale? Let's go to different cities where we might not even know anyone, but just to be able to kind of throw a tournament. Like we're not from Pittsburgh, but we don't really, that's not our go-to. So let's go to Pittsburgh and let's throw a tournament. Like, what's the thought process behind that, and how does that even come to fruition?
So for me, I'm a huge in all aspects of business. For me, I'm a huge believer in relationship building, right? Where can I build relationships?
Love
Where
that.
can I make them stronger? Where can we get the community involved? And I think when I met Greg in 2017, that's really what he was doing.
Okay.
I met him at one of the Dallas Cowboys facilities, and he was building those relationships.
Okay.
But as far as bringing a tournament to Pittsburgh, I mean, this is my hometown.
Right.
Like,
for
this
sure.
is my stomping ground.
No
I
doubt.
grew up here.
No
So
What part of Pittsburgh did you grow
so
up in?
it's about an hour north. It's a little town called Greenville, Pennsylvania. But I grew up in the Burgh, every weekend.
For sure.
At Pirates games, we had
No
season
doubt.
tickets. Steelers games. I went to Duquesne University.
Okay.
right.
So my whole family besides me went to the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So my parents still live here with my sister and her son. So it was really, and Greg knew this as well, it was really important to me to be able to bring something back to my hometown.
We're thankful for it.
Yeah.
We're thankful for it.
So.
And again, so I apologize, but just like Josh Jacobs, just like that story, like, can you give us another example of like maybe how Hard Counts had another like success story like that?
With one of our
Just in general, just like, hey, Hard Counts, maybe something, again, another memorable moment from either a Hard Count tournament, maybe a player or a family or something like that.
So we did when 2020 hit.
COVID year.
COVID, yes. When COVID hit, I have two corporate jobs. I have two jobs, right? Two. I do.
Okay.
I'm a VP for all my son's moving and storage,
Right.
And I have Hard Count Athletics.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So it is two.
Oh, yeah, okay. I got
it
you.
is
For
two
sure,
jobs.
For sure.
And during COVID, I still had all my sons, right? We still were essentially moving, and football and youth sports just shut down. So we had to get really creative, and I came out of the office the one day, and I looked at Greg and I said, "We're taking Tyreek Hill to Iowa." And she was like, what?
What?
He said, what? I said, yeah, pack your bags, we're going to Iowa. And so we did. And when we took Tyreek to Iowa, we had over 400 kids on the flag football. It was one of two states that was open.
Oh,
Really?
Right.
So that's what I thought.
One of
like
two states.
Iowa.
You had Iowa and you had Arizona. Arizona was the Wild Wild West.
Gotcha.
And there was a kid there that had I think it was muscular dystrophy. He was in a wheelchair, and he was in tears when he met Tyreek.
Oh my God.
We did a
I love
private.
that.
We did his mom wrote us an email. He can't participate in the camp. I'm getting goosebumps.
Oh my God.
He can't He can't participate in the camp, but he loves Tyreek Hill. And she said he named his scooter Cheetah.
Oh,
And
wow.
in the school, he's ran a few people over, and he just wants to see how fast his scooter can go against the real cheetah.
Oh my God.
And so we arranged a private meeting before camp in the gymnasium for this child and his family and Tyreek. Tyreek signed his scooter.
Oh wow.
So the cheetah was signing the cheetah. Yeah, and it was one of those. I mean, Tyreek, it brought tears to his eyes.
I love that,
yeah.
man.
So
Oh, my goodness.
there's different times where behind the scenes, a lot of people don't see
Right.
what the players do for
sure,
kids
for
in the
sure.
community, and this is just one of those moments where
love that, man.
it was we were able to bring almost like a bucket list for a kid.
Yes, that is a heartwarming story.
Yeah.
Love that.
So
Now we're going to transition over to the business side
okay.
of things. So how do you manage in organizing such a big thing like the tournaments that you all do, especially at a larger scale than just, like you said, in San Diego? Now you're in other cities. Just how do you manage all that?
It's definitely a team effort. For a long time, it was just Greg and I. And now I feel, like I said, we have a great team behind us. And I had to learn to delegate. I don't delegate well because I feel like it doesn't get done right unless I do it myself.
Yes.
But I had to learn how to delegate and ask for help. And timing's everything. You have to, I'm already planning the national championship now. Like, our fields were all booked before, December 31st.
Nice.
So it's not something that you do in 2 months. It's
sure.
it's something you start 6 months out. We
sure.
just had a meeting about 2025 last week.
Wow.
Right? So for our national championship location, which is so cool.
Nice.
Any breaking news, or you're gonna wait?
saving that.
Nope, I cannot. I cannot.
Disclose that.
Nope, not yet.
Okay, we thought we was gonna break heaven exclusive. I think one question that a lot of people in the flag football space, especially on the East Coast, there's always this comparison, East Coast, West Coast.
Oh, for sure.
So, like, what are maybe the differences? Like, what do you see where maybe the West Coast teams do a lot more versus the East Coast? Because a lot of teams on the East Coast don't even go over there, and the only time we see these teams is in the national championship.
Right.
So, like, what are some of the things, maybe some of the differences, some of the things they do over there versus over here? Like, can you elaborate, or can you give everybody, like, people that don't know, like, maybe?
Well, we're super excited because we do have some East Coast teams coming all the way over to our national
Love
campus.
that. Love
Focus
that.
is coming.
For sure.
SIG is coming over.
I know Brave said they were coming too.
Brave
Yeah,
is coming.
for
So
sure.
so we really are trying to close that gap. But one of the things the biggest difference I think that we see is that, teams on the East Coast, they run, 10, 12, 15 divisions deep, right? West Coast, they don't do that.
Really?
West Coast, we'll have a 100-team tournament, and organizations are bringing like onesie twosies.
Really?
Yeah. So when we
Okay.
say we have a competitive tournament with 100 teams, I mean, it's like 50 to 70 organizations.
Wow.
Not 100 teams with like
Really?
10 organizations.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so,
interesting. That
Yeah.
is very-
Especially like in the states like California,
And
one of
for
the biggest
Texas,
states.
yeah.
Well, 7-on-7 is bigger in the West Coast than it is on the East Coast.
Okay.
So although an organization has multiple teams, there are a lot of them are in 7-on-7.
Gotcha.
So they run deep in team divisions in 7-on-7, but not necessarily the 5-on-5 space.
Gotcha.
Another thing is, tournaments on the East Coast, they'll sell out within a week of registration opening.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, they sell out 2 weeks before registration deadline,
Gotcha,
or a week before registration deadline.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a huge difference. So for Pittsburgh, when it sold out a month and a half in advance, I was like, oh.
Right. Because they're hungry over here. And
Yeah.
It might be because maybe there's more out there or what, but I know over here it's like, man, they sell out like super fast.
There's so many tournaments on the West Coast.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
Maybe
so
that's
many
why.
tournaments.
Okay.
So next year this tournament for us, our Pittsburgh tournament, is going to be a 2-day tournament because I have like 33 teams on the wait list.
Let's go.
So we're excited
Open
about that.
thing up. Let's
We're gonna
go.
we're gonna bust it wide
Absolutely.
open.
Love it.
So
Love
those are two major differences that I
sure.
see. Is that East Coast definitely runs deep when it comes to divisions, and they sell out like super early versus the West Coast.
Yeah, we definitely got that. So
So you already mentioned your other business. You want to talk about that a little bit?
All my sons
Yeah.
moving and storage. You know, if you would have asked me when I was at the soror, I graduated from Duquesne and I was, you know, the sorority chair and, you know, what I'd be doing at 40, it wouldn't be running a moving company. But that's actually how Hard Count and I came together, was because, you know, the Dallas Cowboys is a client of all my sons moving, and I'm the liaison between all of our pro and collegiate teams. We're the preferred mover for.
Nice.
So that's actually where we met. And you know, All My Sons does a lot within the sporting community. So it's almost like goes hand in hand a lot. And if we're doing a camp in the city that I have a location, they always sponsor it as well.
Nice.
So we did Jerry Judy in Denver, Tyreek down in Austin, CeeDee Lamb. So yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. Now, I guess one question that I think I personally want to know is why, like, flag football? We love it.
Yep.
But why, like, flag football? Why are you so passionate about flag football?
I think that flag football gives youth of all ages and all skill level a chance to be on the field.
No doubt.
And I love that for the real young ones, right?
Sure.
There's a place for everybody on the field. I love the fact that we can promote the females in flag and make sure that they know that they have a space on the field as well.
Most definitely.
You know, when I was growing up and my dad was coaching under Johnny Majors, and then he, you know, anytime he was a head coach at high school and then small college, I didn't want to be in a cheerleading uniform. Dad had to buy me a little pit uniform,
Right.
like a pit helmet. I wanted to
sure.
be on the field.
No
I wanted to be the water girl. Like I wanted to be in the huddle.
For sure.
I can drop the West Coast offense on a napkin and talk,
Okay.
you know, smack at the bar
Okay.
and better than some men. So,
Okay.
you know, I love the fact that it's giving women,
sure.
young women,
For sure.
a place to be on the field, and the fact that it's giving them a chance to further their education while doing it as well is
Definitely.
great.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. That is huge.
I do have another question, so I'm going to ask that. But you're so passionate about the game of football. Have you ever coached a team?
You know, I yes. I coached girls basketball and boys basketball in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
And they have flag football in schools down there when I was coaching. And the coach quit right before season started. And I had the principal reach out to me the night before the practice was supposed to start, and they're like, "Do you want to coach?" And I said, "Sure, I could do that. I could do that." And we actually did pretty well.
Okay.
We actually did pretty well. We made it to the playoffs, and my dad had a lot to do with that, sending me his playbook from like the 70s.
Okay.
And you know, I was running things people hadn't seen before because they had been done in the 70s. Right. So I did 1 year of that. So
Nice.
I would love to get back into coaching.
Okay.
Hopefully, you know, I can in the future, but right now, making sure that everyone else has an opportunity to be on the field is more important to me.
All right. So what's next for Hard Count?
For Hard Count,
Oh yeah.
whew, big things coming in 2024,
You bet.
and in 2025. 2020, we're making plans now for 2025.
Love that.
We're expanding to more locations.
Okay.
Forming new partnerships. So we're excited about that. You know, a lot of people say they're a national championship and a national circuit.
Yeah.
We truly are.
Okay.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Like, let's go, man. Like, we really do that, man. I love that. So let me ask you this question, because you have, you know, All My Sons and you have Hard Counts. What do you feel like is the most important lesson, you know, you've learned, like running both organizations or one or the other? What's the most important thing you feel like you've learned along the way?
Not to be so hard on yourself. I'm a perfectionist. I like things to be the way they need to be.
Sure.
But not to be so hard on yourself. Things are, the only constant is going to be change. And I think the sooner you recognize that and being able to pivot is very important as well.
Definitely.
Pivot on, not having to process a pivot according to what needs to be done and make the event still run successfully. So being flexible enough to do all of that.
Gotcha. Love that.
All right. Now, we started with when you started, so let's go back a little bit more. What could you tell your younger self now? Looking back, what piece of advice could you
And
tell
I would high five her because I loved me when I was young.
So what piece of advice could you give your younger self?
You know, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. I think that over working with Greg, working with Hard Count, working with All My Sons Moving, especially in the past, 5 to 8 years, I really feel like if I had to give advice to my younger self, it would be to listen twice as much as you speak. Because really that's where, when you listen twice as much as you speak, that's really where you're going to get the information you need to make an accurate decision.
All right.
Wow.
Love that. Man.
Yes. I love that too.
It's well thought out. All right, final question. Before we get out of here because we're about to wrap up. All right, top 5 tournaments. Top 5. You got to go to these tournaments if you are a competitive team, flag football. Have to be NFL flag style tournaments. We ain't talking 7-on-7. We ain't talking about your mom and pop making up the rules. I'm talking about a top 5 NFL flag tournament.
Yep. Definitely Hard Count National Championship in June.
Okay.
Hard Count Vegas.
Okay.
For sure. I think that Austin's World Championships down in Florida is an awesome tournament for people to attend. It's an experience like none other.
No doubt.
I think USA Flag brings something to the table
North Carolina,
as well.
for sure.
No, USA Flag. So,
Wait, I thought it was in North Carolina. The one?
The one?
No, that's USA Football.
Oh wait, it's 2 different ones.
And
Wait,
plus,
I don't think I knew that.
and USA Football doesn't NFL flag rules, so we can't even bring them into the conversation.
Wait, hold on. So I just learned this. So USA Flag and USA
two totally
football.
different,
Really?
different organizations.
I never knew that.
Yep.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
You educated.
Yeah.
I thought it was all.
So Hard Counts Nationals, they're Vegas.
Okay.
Austin Bradshaw's Disney tournament.
For sure.
The World Championships,
Yeah.
that's what it's called.
Yeah.
USA Flags Worlds.
Okay.
Which is in Florida as well.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Okay, now you know it. Okay, I get it now. Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Gosh, top 5.
One more.
One more?
Yeah, give me one more. Give me one more.
And I got to go with Pittsburgh Elites Pittsburgh tournament.
Let's go.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
what I'm
back.
talking
You
about.
guys run a fine tournament.
Let's go.
I might really like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that,
And Pittsburgh's a great location,
It
so
is.
come to the Berg.
I'm telling you, man. Get them here, man. Get them teams here, man. I appreciate that, man. Jameson, you were awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
man.
for having me,
This
guys.
was it, man. For sure. You want to send us off?
Yeah, Jameson. Just again, thanks for coming out. Just again, we're all about females empowerment as well,
yes,
and
indeed.
seeing you do what you do, and we're just so glad to have you here.
Sure.
And as we do with all of our guests, where can people find you? You better give us your social or
Absolutely.
something.
You can find us at Hard Count Athletics on Instagram, Facebook, and you can email us as well at info@hardcountathletics.com.
Let's go, man. James,
right.
we appreciate it.
Thanks
man.
for having me, guys.
No
Women
problem.
in flag doing big things, man. Nobody doing it bigger like you, man.
I appreciate
Love it,
that.
So if you're one of these flag teams out there, come to one of these hard count tournaments. They're in your area.
out.
All right. Again, that does it for us here at NFL Flag Talk. We'll see you for our next episode. Take care.
My shorty bad like Shakira. I told her look in the mirror. Don't need a license to care.